Hi, today I'm going to talk about automatic estimation of arterial input function. This is the project I've done for EE591 class. So the goals of my project. The personal goal of my project was to understand what is an arterial input function. So what are the problems surrounding the automatic estimation of arterial input function, and to understand it through literature review and implement a state-of-the-art algorithm. My uniqueness statement is I did this work exclusively for EE591. Alright, so what is the motivation behind choosing this project? Before that, I would like to explain what is AIF, uh, why did I choose AIF estimation, what are some of the present state-of-the-art techniques, and what I have implemented and what is the future. Before jumping into AIF, I would like to talk a little bit about dynamic contrast enhanced MRI, which is a method which enables analysis of blood vessels generated by a tumor. This method uses a contrast agent, generally a gadolinium injection, which is generally blocked by the regular brain-blood barrier, but it is not blocked by the blood vessels generated by the tumor. So, using this method, you can measure the rate of flow of blood across the blood-brain barrier the uh, in the vessels generated by the tumor. So, what is the relation with arterial input function? So, when you inject the gadolinium contrast agent in the blood, the response of the blood to the injection is the arterial input function. So, this is the input to the system, that is your tissue, and the contrast that you measure in the DC MRI is the contrast which is the response of the tissue to the arterial input function, which is mathematically given by C of t equal to the arterial input function. C of t is the contractation time value of a voxel, and C of t is the arterial input function, and R of t is the convolved with R of t, which is the system function of that specific tissue. So this is really important for accurately determining the pharmacokinetic parameters, which are really important for estimating the tumor. So visually you can see that GD is the concentration that I have shown here, C of t, and the vascular input function is the arterial input function, and the model is used to find the system response. And using these three components, we can find the K-trans, VPV, and goodness of fit values. These are really important for finding the different stages of the tumor, and it's really important for a radiologist. So why automatic estimation? Traditionally, there have been a lot of methods such as manual segmentation, population average difference method, and parametric models. The problem with most of these techniques are, like, manual segmentation is very slow and takes up valuable time of the radiologist, and techniques like parametric models do not really capture the physiological factors such as cardiac output, vascular tone, which are really important for accurate determination of arterial input function, and which in turn is very important for determination of the pharmacokinetic parameters. So what are the current problems faced in arterial input function? The first important major problem is the partial volume effect and the in-plane enhancement. So what is in-plane enhancement? So the idea is when you saturate a slice, if a blood vessel flows through it that is perpendicular to the saturation, then the blood which has been saturated is not constant and it's transient. So the saturated blood keeps moving, but in dynamic contrast enhanced MRI, we are looking for the change in concentration, which we really can't capture if the saturated blood leaves the plane. And the second important problem is partial voluming effect. So this is an inherent problem in the resolution of the MR image. So if there is not enough resolution, then some of the tiny vasculature we really can't see, and we can't really measure the arterial input function from that vasculature. So what are the current methods used in arterial input function? Like automatically estimating arterial input function. I have divided them into three separate categories. The shape-based methods, which basically look at the shape that I have explained before. The disadvantages being multiple threshold values. The clustering-based methods, which cluster the voxels which correspond to arterial input function. Again, the problem is parameter dependency and inter-data set variability. The third method, which I have looked into, are the blind source separation techniques. These are more relevant to my study because techniques like principal component analysis are more applicable to a wider data sets, and they don't have as many parameters and thresholds as shape-based techniques or clustering-based techniques, and they are generally easier to implement, which was also one of the motivation behind why I have chose this technique. But the disadvantage being I need to provide an initial estimate of the arterial input function, some knowledge about the arterial input function. So the technique that I have implemented is principal component analysis based techniques, which is a very recent technique implemented in 2014 ISMRM. So the idea is to convert the spatiotemporal data into a 2D matrix and then apply principal component analysis on the 2D spatiotemporal data. And the T direction is basically the time direction, and R is the spatial data, which can be either a 3D volume or a 2D slice, and in my case it is a 3D volume. And the next step is to identify the principal component which corresponds to the arterial input function, which is done by finding the correlation between the initial reference arterial input function and the principal component. And then once I find the principal component, I identify the voxels for which this principal component has the highest contribution factor, by which I mean that it has at least 95% energy coming from this specific principal component, and then identify those voxels and then spatially average them and then find the arterial input function. And this technique has actually given me really good results. So you can see the three principal components, and this is the input data that I have used. Okay, I'll skip these slides. Alright, so what I have done is I have used region of interest and I have applied the principal component analysis. As you can see, there are three principal components: PC1, PC2 and PC3. I've observed that PC2 gives me the highest correlation with the reference arterial input function, and I've used that to calculate find the voxels which have the highest contribution from this principal component, and then average them over space and found their time intensity curves. And this is the estimated arterial input function from this, and this is the manual arterial input function. As you can see, they correlate really well. And this is the generated mask, and I can see that this generated mask really corresponds well with the sagittal sinus that you can see below. So this is the comparison between the manual and the automatic AIF. You can see there's a really good correlation, and the normalized root mean square error is just 2%. I've applied this to 3 data sets, and I've done some statistical measures such as ANOVA test, and I've seen that the inter-estimated AF variability is high. The inter-manual AF variability is also high. That is, when I say inter, I mean what is the variability across the data sets, not in between the estimated and the manual. But in between estimated and manual, I get really good results. The average error is just 5%, which is really good. So what are the challenges identified? I have identified that there is a lot of variability across data set, and there's a need to quantify the variability, and then there's a need to find algorithms which are universally applicable. So what are the lessons learned? I've learned that there are multiple interpretations to algorithms like principal component analysis. Ad hoc techniques work, but they don't always work across different data sets. And it's always good to start small when you are implementing new algorithms, and there's a huge gap between theory and implementation. Thanks a lot for listening.